Welcome to episode 27 of Motormouth. Here's your host, Brendan Kelly.
Hello everybody and welcome to yet another episode of Motormouth, the show that keeps you up to date with all forms of motorsport in the Eastern Cape. My name is Brendan Kelly. Paul Bedford is our man in Pretoria doing our final mix, and in Port Alfred, that's where you'll find our producer, the ever-effervescent Daryl Cookard. Apologies once again for the chaos last week where we lost our main internet feed in Pretoria. It was certainly out of our control. I'd like to apologize to all of our guests for the mix-up, and then thank them in advance for bearing with us and making time available to join us once again this week. Please, folks, be so kind as to hit the share button on whatever platform you're watching the show on, as well as keep the questions coming. I follow the show live on Facebook on the Up to 60 Seconds page, so please feel free to ask our guests any questions as the show progresses. In our birthday book this week, it was Sparky Bright who celebrated his birthday last Wednesday. On behalf of the Motormouth team, we hope that you had a very happy birthday, Sparky. And then celebrating today is Cape Town-based motorcycle racer Andrew Liebenberg. He comes up and races up in the, we see lots of him up this way. Happy birthday, Andrew. We trust that you have had a great day. And then congratulations must go out to Aldo Scribante along with his cousins, Franco and Dino, for winning the 9-hour endurance race last weekend at Kalani International Raceway in Cape Town in that flippin' awesome Chevron E26, the car that's powered by twin Hayabusa motors. My favorite vehicle from Samola Hill Climb. I follow that car all around the country. So great to see that all of their hard work and development that has gone into that car is now finally paying off and reaping dividends. We certainly had a great weekend's racing at the Syrabix 3-hour at Scribante. The weather played a pivotal role in proceedings, and unfortunately, due to safety concerns with the constant rain, the Clinicare 200 motorbike race had to be cancelled, but at least we managed to get the Clinicare 100 done, and that was won by Mitch Robinson, the overall winner on his KTM 390. He was followed home in second by Mornay Koch, and the evergreen William Q finishing in a very, very good third position. Mitch Robinson, incidentally, also clinched the Index of Performance Award. And then moving on to the sprint races, and in the CBR 150 motorbike class, it was young Dylan Probler that emerged victorious over Peter Hill, who was second, and Mitch Robinson in third. After dominating race one, Riche Mudley decided not to race in race two as his rain tires had not arrived on time. But in race one, he did better the lap record by around 7 seconds. 7 seconds, that is correct, yeah. Riche really following in the footsteps of his dad, Urushin, in a big, big way. In the combined 600 unlimited and hot motorcycle class, the overall winner was Jared Schultz. Second was Jonathan Truerin, and third place went to Peter Hill. In the combined Power Sport Masters 650 and 300 class, it was once again the young superstar Riche Mudley that dominated proceedings, with Gregan Nell finishing second and Chad Billsbury in third place. In the process, Riche smashed the lap record for the 300 class as well. And incidentally, the new junior lap record is also quicker than the senior lap record. The street and fine cars, that was won by Stuart Cornforth. He put on a masterful driving display in the rain to win from Ryan Kruger and Jan Enslin. And then in the SA Mechanical Sealed Coastal Challenge, Johan Barnard emerged victorious from Dinesh Kupu and Johan Kutsia. We'll be catching up with Johan Barnard later on in the show. In the Selju City Modified Saloon class, that was won by Dion Slabbert. He dominated proceedings, 2 runaway wins in both heats. Second place went to Ian Riddle in the BMW, and third place to Mark Fontini. And then moving on to the highlight of the weekend, the Syrabix 3-hour endurance race ended up in third. It was Eric Solomon and Dave Sinclair. Second place went to Greg and Andy Gosman. And first place going to our next guest, Patrick Davidson. And he is half of the winning pairing in the debut drive of the Polo Super Cup car. Patrick sharing the car with his brother, Nick. So it's a very, very good evening to Patrick. Welcome to the show, and thank you for joining us on Motormouth.
Yeah, how's it, Ben? Thank you very much for having me here.
It's been a while. We've been trying to get Nick onto the show for a long time, but he's said we should rather chat to you. You used to all the media hype, and that's thanks once again for joining us. You guys managed to get an early lead in the race in very, very wet conditions. Nick driving around the outside of turn one around the Shelby Can-Am. Talk us through the race from there.
Yeah, I said to Nicholas, if he wanted me to join him, I didn't want to be standing on the bottom step, and hopefully that we could even just finish the race at all. We've had a terrible history with breakdowns on cars and things like that. So we were very, very lucky that we had the Polo, and to be honest, it really went through the 3 hours effortlessly. But in all honesty, better than anyone, the endurance racing is, when you're standing there on the grid, and no matter where you qualify, it's a long time. 3 hours of pushing the vehicle to its paces. The weather might change, might have a bad pit stop, or an idiot driver who overtakes in a safety car, or like a yellow flag. But anything could happen. But yeah, it was awesome. It was a really cool event, and it was good fun. We both really enjoyed it.
How did you guys share the driving duties? Obviously, Nicholas did the first stint. How long was that for?
To be honest with you, I don't know the exact times, but it was a bit of a disaster when we started, because when Ryan Kruger went onto the grid to help Nicholas, there was no comms in the car. So that's how our evening or day started off. We weren't able to communicate other than with a pit board, and as it got darker, the lights got bad. Nicholas has got really bad eyes, so even myself, to be honest with you, I couldn't even see it coming past. So it was really tough. So Nicholas went out on full wets, and eventually the tires started failing as it started drying up, because the rain was sort of like threatening, but it just wasn't coming. So he made the decision to come in, and I think it was on 56 minutes. Call me alive for a couple of minutes, and basically what happened was we weren't ready with the having the heaters on the intermediates. So literally, next thing was coming into pit lane, and there was a big scramble to try and get the other tires ready. And they got them on quickly, and I went out, and I think my session must have been like an hour and 38 to an hour and 40 minutes or something like that. Which was, it was quite a long time, especially for somebody who's not really driving fit. It was hard work, and especially not having comms with the guys in the pits. I didn't know if they were saying go as in push, or go as in just keep going, or just like, it was actually a disaster not having comms. It's so important to be able to communicate with the guys from my side, to tell them how I'm doing, and as well for them to tell me, what the situation is.
But you hardly put a foot wrong, other than having a drive-through penalty for overtaking under the yellow conditions, as well as a spin in the S's. How much seat time did you have in the car before the event?
I managed to drive it once before, so I think I did 8 laps. It was either 8 or 10 laps prior to that, and then Nicholas obviously did all the testing and setup and stuff, and I sort of arrived and had 3 hours to get used to it, which was a bit of a negative side. But I must say it was so well set up, and it was quite easy to make friends with it. It's not a difficult car to drive, but it was different, being also only the second time I'd ever driven a front wheel drive. I'd driven Nicholas's Audi, which was the 4-wheel drive, and then again the BMW, which was rear wheel drive. But no front wheel drives, and it really took a bit of getting used to, and it was a complete different driving experience.
Yeah, the front wheel drive's a totally different concept. Especially when you're used to having all the power behind you.
And especially when the track's a bit wet, that was something that was a bit disconcerting for me, because you were forced, coming up the sweep, you were forced sometimes to be on the outside, which was the wetter line, and you sort of turn in, and the whole back end starts coming around, and like the last thing on earth you think coming from rear wheel drive to do is to put your foot down, but if you don't, you're going to end up in the tires. So that took a bit of convincing for myself. I had a couple of chats to myself going through there, but it tended to work out all right. And besides the little spin, I think it wasn't too bad.
So certainly did well. I mean, doing the donkey work that you're talking about, an hour 38, hour 40 stint, that takes some doing. And how did your lap times compare to Nick's lap times?
They were quite similar on the second stint. So not having comms again was an issue because, we had no relativity as to where the other cars were or the other car that we were racing was. So previously when we'd spoken, sort of the only thing that stuck into my head was 1 minute 10. That was what the guys were saying. And, speaking to Sparky and the other guys, they said, that's the sort of lap time that wins the race and preserves the car. When I did drive the car earlier in the week, I think I got down to a 106, I think it was, which is quite good for that car, I guess, and for me as well, not being a seasoned driver. But with the intermediates on and being a bit wet and the traffic and all the rest of it, that was the focus goal, to be like 110. I think Nicholas came on afterwards, and I think he was doing 109s. So it was there or thereabouts, but not knowing where you are and not knowing what the target times are, it was actually very, very difficult.
And then tell us a little bit about the hype in the pits. The Shelby Can-Am. Obviously, once things started drying out, Nick got ahead of him and led for the first part of the race on full wet weather tires. But then once things started drying out, the Shelby then came into its own for probably 3/4 of the race until they unfortunately lost their back left wheel. At what stage did you guys realize this is doable? We can win this bloody race?
I think it only becomes a reality when you cross the finish line, to be blatantly honest with you. I said tongue in cheek earlier, I said to Nicholas, I didn't want to race if we weren't going to win. But to be honest, that wasn't the case. Nicholas asked me to come and help him out and drive the car, which I love to do. But with the history of where we come from with regards to the breakdowns and stuff, just to see him finish the race, I was really, really happy for him. And obviously us as a team as well, it was fantastic just to have the checkered flag, and at that point we knew we were in front, which was cool.
You've done one or two sprint races in the regional saloons as well. Which do you prefer, sprint racing or the tactical form of endurance racing?
Yeah, I think to be honest, I was so buggered when I got out the car after that stint. Like I was exhausted. So from that perspective, I think I like the sprint racing, more. And there's a lot more overtaking in the enduro. So they both have their benefits. For me personally, though, I think if we had another driver to do an hour each, I think that would have been first class. But I think if I had to have the choice again, I'd probably go for the enduro race again, just purely because of the overtaking. And there's always something happening, and you've got to be like constantly thinking about the other guy. Has he seen you? Do you try and go on the inside? Are you on the outside? It's constantly busy. but geez, it was hard work, I won't lie.
Oh, great stuff. We got to let's change topics a little bit. I mean, being a 5-time South African aerobatics champion, you're you fly with heart monitors and that. And you mentioned in the when we were chatting yesterday that your heart rate compared to when you fly in aerobatics compared to the car. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so just I normally wear my Garmin, which picks up off my wrist the heart rate, and as a rule, when I'm doing competition aerobatics or even during Red Bull Air Race, when we were racing, I'd sort of had a max of around 160, 165, and it actually very seldom gets higher than that, and it actually more often than not, it's actually lower. But when I got out the car, I think it peaked at 192. So it's quite a substantial difference.
That's fantastic. I think
it's also the adrenaline, and having the other cars around, as I said, and the lights going down, and not having the comms, and there's a lot of anxiety, and you want to do the best that you can. Whereas maybe in the aeroplane, it's my happy place. It's I'm comfortable. I know what to expect. We with Red Bull also they put us through a massive amount of training, and we were briefed and trained on every possibility of an incident or an accident or any sort of malfunction of the aircraft or fuselage or engine, whatever it might have been. We'd been briefed. Whereas in the car, it's a different story. It's not my natural habitat, if you will.
Yeah, those photographs are absolutely fantastic. That one you can almost see the happiness in your eyes there. That one where you're looking straight at the camera, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, it's difficult not to smile when you're flying those things.
Yeah. When talking Red Bull air racing, you in the Challenger class. When can you or how do you step up to the mainstream event? You've had is it 2 full seasons in the Challenger class or 1 full season?
So 2 full seasons in Challenger. There's no set guidelines. It's not cast in stone how you can or can't get promoted. But obviously they look at sponsorships. They look at the individual. They look at your history, where you come from. A lot of the guys were ex-fighter pilots. The rest of the guys are high level competition aerobatic pilots. They look at performance, but to be blatantly honest, it's not guaranteed that just because you're winning that you're going to get a seat to go to master. It's like anything, it's a sellable product. They're looking for an individual that can sell himself. They're looking for somebody that can bring a brand onto the top of its game. They're looking for a following, and modern day stuff as we're doing now. It's all social media based and all internet based. So yeah, that's sort of the answer. I don't have a set in stone. This is how you do it, and this is the procedure you follow. But yeah, you just got to look after yourself and make sure you present yourself in a good manner, and hopefully they accept it, and you move forward from there.
Well, you certainly seem to be flying the South African flag very, very proudly. I follow the Red Bull air racing, knowing that we've got a South African there. So, a massive kudos for what you have achieved there and what you are going to achieve next year. What is the plan for next year? Is there with COVID and that, is there a season scheduled? What's the plan?
Yeah, I mean, your guess is as good as mine. Who will be able to travel where and when? But yes, there is definitely a season which is, strangely enough, there's 2 events which are scheduled to start next year. I've been invited, fortunately, to both of them. The first one of which looks like it will take place on the 31st of May in Saudi Arabia. So yeah, I literally got the email when we spoke the other day. So yeah, it's super exciting. And the next one looks like it'll be focused more on the eastern countries, and with the foresight or the view of going to electric aircraft sort of in 3 to 5 years. So yeah, a lot's happening. Lots on the cards, and we hope next year that the competition aerobatic side will get going again, because literally all my events were cancelled this year. And although it was great to stay at home with the family, yeah, I really miss it. Being a competitor.
You seem to. Oh, sorry. The picture seemed to just hook there for it. So we missed a little bit there, but the way I understand it, you'll be taking part in the masters class.
So look, there's no signed contracts yet. So being a business person, I know that nothing's done until it's signed and sealed on paper. But the conversations have been very positive, and we hope to be able to put a proper release out shortly.
That is brilliant news, and we certainly look forward to continue following your racing overseas. That just the mind boggles. The countries that you get to, and that, and the whole production that they put together. It's absolutely spectacular. So we wish you all the very, very best. But just before we say goodbye, just one question. Are you willing to tell us how you got the nickname Chocker?
Yeah. So my good friends will know where it comes from, but let's just leave it as I'm no longer allowed to drink Klipdrift anymore. And that's by order of my wife.
Patrick, thanks very much for joining us on the show. And as we said, best of luck for next year. And we certainly hope to see you out at Scribante behind the wheel of a race car as well.
Yeah, no, I hope to be back out there again. And it's been a pleasure being on your show. Thank you for having me.
Great stuff. Right, folks, we're going to go for a quick advert break. We'll see you after the break. With over 60 years of financial planning experience, Skybridge Capital has sound solutions for your financial needs. Our client commitment and unbiased approach enables us to build tailored investment portfolios for the individual and their changing circumstances. We specialize in retirement and estate planning, wills and deceased estates, as well as local and offshore investment planning. Best Drive Treads Tyres East London, your complete one-stop car shop. Visit us for great deals on Continental and General tyres, as well as many other brands. For professional and friendly service, call us on 043 743 7564 or find us on Facebook at Treads Tyres. Treads Tyres is a proud sponsor of Eastern Cape Motorsport. Prono Eco Car Wash is a new waterless concept in cleaning cars. You can give either Buvy or Matthew a call for prompt and efficient service. Their numbers are on the flyer that is on screen at the moment. These guys are mobile, so will come and clean your vehicle wherever it is convenient for you to have it done. Their vacuum cleaners and other cleaning equipment are all battery operated, making deep cleaning very efficient. Prono Eco Car Wash, a new waterless concept in cleaning cars. Joining us now, a man who has featured fairly often on our show and now wears the crown of Regional Saloon Car overall champion for 2020. It's a very good evening to George van Baalen. Welcome to the show, George.
How's it been? Hope you're so well tonight.
All very well, thanks. So just before I chat to you, George, good evening to Jeff Latham. I see he's joined us, and Picky Murray as well, enjoying the show. So great stuff. But George, proving once again that consistency counts. Congratulations on a flippin' great performance. You've certainly had a good season there.
Yes, we certainly seem that we had a bit of luck on our side for once. We've worked hard. Dion's been a superstar. He's coached me. He's prepped the car mentally. He tells me what to do. So yeah, it's been lucky. Like I say, we had good races and things worked out. We certainly had a bit of a fight until the end. We were actually under the impression that we'd be able to drop our worst event, and thought that I might enjoy the last one on the banks, watching, and Dion said, no, we must just ride, and had a bit of a problem with the car, so it was nerve-wracking to get through, and the points was like crazy different, close, so it was pretty fun.
No, great stuff. I see Dwayne Grobler's joined us as well. Dylan's father, a little up-and-coming motorbike star, and Ivan Newman from East London joining us as well. We look forward to seeing Ivan up in East London this weekend. So the weekend's racing, everything other than your car packing up. But by that stage, the championship title was in the bag, and but it ended up with you and Stefan Okamp tied on exactly the same amount of points. 108, I think it was, that you both tied on the same amount of points. So how did they work it from there then?
No, well, like I said, we were under the impression that we could drop our last race, and because of the COVID and one race, we weren't able to drop one. And it actually came down to, I think we had both 9 wins, and I had 2 seconds and he had 3 seconds. So that was the split. So it was very close. Close.
It doesn't get much closer than that. And then obviously your teammate, Dion slotting there in third place. So, I mean, you guys ended up having a fairly decent season of the lots of money and work that went into it.
Yeah, like if there's one person that actually deserves it, it's probably Dion. It's his heart and it's his passion, and that's what he loves. I'm sure even now he's busy in the garage. He's busy with huge modifications on the Polo, which is looking amazing. And I'm sure he's going to set a whole. He was actually leading last season right till the end when he blew that motor. So yeah, it's quite lucky and thankful to have got a number one, and so I think a lot of guys raced for many years to get it. So it's an awesome one to have on the shelf.
We've got a mutual friend saying, "Woohoo! Well done, champ, Lindy. Nice to see you, and nice to see that you're enjoying the show along with us." And I see Marty Meyer from PE also joining. So we got some new visitors, which is absolutely great. Thanks to everybody that has shared the show. These women seem to be chasing you there, George.
Yeah, I actually know Lindy for many years from Toyota days. She's a Toyota supporter, Johnny Johnson fan. That since converted to a Volkswagen as well. So it must show you something. So it's lekker. Our Facebook page has been so busy, and the guys are awesome, and youngsters coming across, and Dwayne's Lighty. I mean, that Okie is absolutely incredible on a bike. And Rishan's son. So the youngsters are cool, and my daughters would like to rally one day. So we hopefully get to rally with them more. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Well, that was one of the questions I had on further down the list here. Are you and Dion going to carry on with the rally season next year? What's in the pipeline for 2021?
Yeah, we've been planning some mods on the car. Still, we've got a lot that we can get more power out of it. So we decided to stick in the 1400 class. Maybe try and beat the Oaks. I'm not even sure how the rally rules work with championships, but we're gonna certainly give it a go and see if we can chase the 1600s in the 1400. I think that's a good challenge for us for now, and I'm not that confident yet on the gravel. We've been pushing it, and Dion's been happy with the way we've been driving. So looking forward to a bit of a break actually, and then we'll do it next year.
And the endurance car, how's that coming along? There's a perfect opportunity this weekend, the Border 100. Go and run it up there.
We were supposed to be in Zim last weekend for the 3 hour. But after the 45 year in P, we had a bit of a shock issue, and the parts haven't arrived, and Dion found one or two little things. So it's good that we did the race. Pity I've missed it 2 years in a row now. But I've been on the internet. I've been looking for some 4-wheel drive endurance cars and see if we can maybe chase that Polo next year.
Great stuff. Right, George, it's been an absolute pleasure once again. Next week will be our last show of the season. So we wish you all the best. You and Dion certainly have set the standard very high. I see Johan Barnard has joined as well. Also, just explaining that you had 3 second places over Stefan's 2. So very, very close championship. It certainly has been a good one. A very condensed championship, I might add. With what COVID has done, but well done. As I say, you have certainly set the bar very high, and we look forward to see what tricks you've got up your sleeve for next year.
Yeah, we'll do something, I'm sure, to keep it exciting. But I think the show's been awesome, guys. Glad it's worked out, and I'm happy that people are watching. So it's awesome. I hear there's some nice live feeds coming for next year.
No, thanks. But George, thanks once again to you and Emerald Fire and Fifth Color Branding for having the balls to jump in with us and get this whole thing kickstarted. You're an absolute star, and we just wish you a very happy break, and we best of luck for next season. Cheers, thanks, man.
Thanks to you guys as well. Good.
Great. Before we go to the next advert break, let's see who's joined us. Jacques Theron. Time to turn pro now, George. Well done, Bayach and Brent Barnard joining as well. George, you legend. So lots of support for George van Baalen. Very, very likable, whether it be racing rubber ducks or enduro bikes, always has a huge following. We're going to go for another advert break, and then we'll catch up with the driver who came out of retirement last weekend and then promptly won his class.
With over 60 years of financial planning experience, Skybridge Capital has sound solutions for your financial needs. Our client commitment and unbiased approach enables us to build tailored investment portfolios for the individual and their changing circumstances. We specialize in retirement and estate planning, wills and deceased estates, as well as local and offshore investment planning. Best Drive Treads Tyres East London, your complete one-stop car shop. Visit us for great deals on Continental and General tyres, as well as many other brands. For professional and friendly service, call us on 043 743 7564 or find us on Facebook at Treads Tyres. Treads Tyres is a proud sponsor of Eastern Cape Motorsport.
Prono Eco Car Wash is a new waterless concept in cleaning cars. You can give either Bobby or Matthew a call for prompt and efficient service. Their numbers are on the flyer that is on the screen. These guys are mobile, so we'll come and clean your vehicle wherever it is convenient for you to have it done. Prono Eco Car Wash, a new waterless concept in cleaning cars. As I mentioned, our next guest came out of retirement to win the Historics class. It's a very, very good evening to Johan Barnard. Johan, welcome to the show.
Good evening, Brendan. Thanks for having me on the show. Great, thank you.
It's an absolute pleasure. I mean, at the end of last season, we bade you a very tearful farewell when you announced your retirement for racing after so many years in the hot seat. What has prompted this sudden comeback?
Oh, Brendan, if you've got grandchildren that's into motor racing, into go-karts, into your sons, it's a big factor, in fact. It's a big decision you've got to make at the age of 70 to go back into a motor car, which my grandson was like 4 seconds quicker than me on the in the car. Yeah, so it was nice. It was difficult, but it was nice. I enjoyed it, and as I say, basically, Alvin and Brent, my sons, prompted me to have another go just for one more race.
Okay, I noticed one or two little mistakes creeping in, and the most notable one was the car ramping the curb on the exit of turn 6. I don't know how the hell you didn't end up in the tire wall. Tell us what happened there.
Well, yeah, that was a big mistake. Looking in the rearview mirror and not hitting apex, and I think a bit of stock car pass helped me get out of the situation. I think that was all. There was nothing else. Really, the car was out of control, and I just managed to get it back on track.
Yeah, I was so surprised to see you come out the other side, because when you hit the curb and went off from the commentary box, that whole tire wall, you can't see what's going on track there. And I was just expecting to see dust and grass and tires flying, and the next thing you came out back onto the circuit and carried on. It must have been quite a spectacular piece of driving on the grass there.
No, thanks, Brendan. I didn't see myself, but I can imagine it would have been a bit of spectacular driving and holding your head and making sure that you don't damage the car. The car doesn't belong to me anymore. As you know, I've passed it on to my grandson now, and I really didn't want to damage it at all.
No, great stuff. But at that stage, I mean, you were involved in a flippin' massive ding dong battle with Steven Heidenreich. There was some fantastic racing.
Yes. Yeah, I suppose a little bit more practice, and we battled with the car on Friday night. We got new shocks from Johannesburg, and we fitted them, and we didn't have a chance to change coil springs or anything like that. It was very. It wasn't the car that I drove a year ago, and it was difficult to drive. First of all, we changed the brakes as well on it. So, and Saturday morning, just before the race, we managed to get the wheel alignment sorted out because there was issues with the steering column as such. And yeah, we managed to sort those issues out, and I managed to qualify on the 14.3, I think, 14.4, whatever, which I thought wasn't too bad for me.
Yeah, no, brilliant. We are just having a look at the photographs that are rolling on the screen there. The one in particular that I want to chat about is the Springbok Series, the big Ford Fairlane that you raced. That must have been a whole lot of fun to drive.
Brendan, I think out of all my racing as a stock cars, tour racing, the Ford was probably one of the most unforgivable cars that I've ever driven. Honestly, it was a tank. It was a tank. You could turn around a corner. It didn't have gears, as you know. It was automatic, so you had to hand
Yeah.
shift it, and from second into drive, and yeah, myself and I think it was the BMW of it was 333i, I think, yeah. Until the second last lap. That's when my tires, I think, went off because of all the cornering. The car was like hanging, and the wheels were screaming, and I was just trying to hold on to the and get him to the line, but the BM's power was just a little bit too strong for the V8 of the Ford.
Okay, and then what was your first race car? Where did it all start?
Yeah, Brendan, that watch stock cars, oval track racing they call it nowadays, in PE here, and we moved up to London in 1972, and I worked there, and I was involved. I met a guy by the name of Boet Murray, which a lot of people should know, a very good friend of mine, in fact. And, I bought a Viva GT. I had a Viva GT as a road car, and I bought a Viva GT to go and race stock cars. And I walked into his workshop and I said, I'm Barnard, I'd like to race stock cars. He says, yeah, well, what have you got? And I said to him, a Viva GT. He said to me, what? That piece of shit. You can't drive that on a stock car track. so that was good exact words to me. And but he later on backed out and said, no, let's get the car going. And lo and behold, I won 2 championships with the Viva GT. So yeah, that's where it all started. And then of course, when we moved back to P, I brought the GSM Dart with me, and the late Destinecker phoned me one day and said, come on, man, I've got a Flamingo. Why don't you come and join me on the racetrack? I said, oh, Des, I don't know. This thing hasn't got a hard top. It's they've got a little roll bar, which I don't think means a lot. He said, no, man, just come and ride. Just go. You don't have to go fast. And I mean, when you get on the track, you don't go slow. And Des and myself, I remember, had a hell of a dice that day with his Flamingo and my dad, and I pipped into the flag, so I was quite chuffed. And I think that's where the whole thing started to get going again.
Great stuff. And then you, during your racing career, you must have come across some legendary characters. Who are the guys that really stick out for you, and why would you say they stick out?
Oh my word! I never had the opportunity to race with the guys of Willie Hepburn and those guys, but I did race against Mike Forsyth, Donnie DeLong at the time. The guy with the Granada in East London, big yellow Granada. And I remember going to East London, and I didn't have a chance, in fact. And I qualified second on the grid with 4 beers behind me. So I thought that was quite nice. And Brett was the guy in the Granada, and he broke the first as we went. Obviously, he got me on the start, and as we went into the S's, something happened to his car, and then I managed to get a gap, and I managed to pull away a little bit from him. So those were nice days. The early days in East London when I raced against the big guns as such.
And you've obviously raced a lot in East London at the Grand Prix circuit, as well as Scribante. Which would you rate as the better circuit, or what would you say the best circuit in the country? Where would you say?
Brendan, 6 to 1, half a dozen the other. It depends on the car that you have. The Fairlane in East London really was a treat to drive, because once you hit pot, you had to hold on. You really had to hold on. We were on Continental tires, road tires those days, and braking for Cochabana was another story. You either got to have totally out of shape, or you went over the grass and you turned on the grass and went back onto the track again. I remember the late Graham Twist with his little red Anglia. He got me to the S's and he passed me, and we went up the straight and I passed him again and down Potters, and I braked early because, as I say, I wasn't trusting the brake, because that was a massive, that was like a massive car we didn't have the proper brakes on that car. And Graham picked me up as we went into the hairpin, and he spun me out. And I was cross with that, but I tried to catch up with him again, but I couldn't. But that was probably one of the nicest cars that I've raced on a circuit. And as I say, East London suited that car perfectly, and it is still there. It belongs to somebody else now, and hopefully we'll see it back on the track soon. Yeah. But then, of course, then I had to make a big decision. Then I sold the Ford, and the kids convinced me to buy another race car, and we were looking around, and then we found the Cadet in Cape Town. So we went from a big V8 351 Cleveland motor to a 2-liter Opel motor and a front-wheel drive.
Front-wheel drive, yeah.
A hell of a change, obviously, So, yeah.
I do believe the car will be making the trip up to East London for the Border 100 this weekend.
Brendan, yes. Brent, my other son is going to drive it up there. I was actually very pleased to hear that they were taking the car up there. So it's going to be interesting to see what that car does in East London. Yeah. Hopefully everything goes well.
You're not going to be sharing. You're not going to be sharing the car with him. Johan, you're not sharing the car with him this weekend.
No. I think I'm done, Brendan. In the wet
until next year.
Last weekend. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm done. In the wet last year, at that last race meeting, I came off twice, and I came off badly. And I just said to myself, the reactions are not as quick as they used to be. So let's rather play safe,
Well, that's it. I respect that, but the best part is you'll be able to sit at home in the comfort of your house and watch the Border 100 live on all social media, on TV, on YouTube, and on Facebook as well. So it will be live streamed. So at no cost, you can sit back and enjoy that.
I'm actually one up on you there. I'm going to be there.
Well, don't worry. I'm going to be there as well. So we will obviously see you up there. But
I'll be giving Brent a
yeah,
hand in the car and just be around. I'd like to see that car play. Yeah.
brilliant stuff. Yeah, just one thing I've always admired is you being able to share your love of motorsport with both Brent and Elwyn and their sons as well now. And I tell you, there's with Kian and Kenzo, Aiden, their racing skill. They're certainly going to be big names in the sport. So. And I really, really enjoy just watching the camaraderie amongst you guys. So yeah, no, very, very special times that you guys have at the track.
Absolutely, Brendan. I'm so privileged to have such grandchildren that's got the same basic skills and interest in racing and not getting involved in any other nonsense and stuff like that. I think they live around motorsport.
Absolutely. Well, Johan, it's been a pleasure having you on the show. I'm sorry it's taken so long to get you on here, but I'm glad that you decided to come out of retirement to come and join us. I see Johan Black has joined in Nantes. George, hy moet nog baie oefen. So Johan Black, he's never lost for words that foul. So great to have Johan watching the show with us as well. Johan, good night. Sorry.
Thank you. Thank you. No, I was just going to say, I haven't had practice since last year, so it was I did that quite quickly last Saturday. So, yeah.
It was absolutely awesome to see you back in the car. We'll catch up again and see you up in East London.
Thank you very much indeed. Have a nice evening.
All right, thanks to Johan Barnard. Folks, a reminder to please share the show across all of your social media platforms, as the show is not about, the show is about all of you racers out there. It's not a platform. Let's try this again. It's a platform for you to not only promote yourself, but your sponsors as well. So please hit the share button and get it out there across Facebook and YouTube. Our next assignment as Motormouth is the Border 100 in East London this coming weekend. We'll be doing the live stream of all the day's action. So on behalf of Daryl, Paul and myself, we'd just like to thank the Border Motorsport guys for embracing the concept of live streaming and absolutely running with it. We really do appreciate it. And we'd like to make special thanks to the following sponsors for their support in putting the live stream together: to East London Towing and Recovery, to Best Drive, Super Value Foods and Iceland, WG Michael Hardware in Queenstown, Car Connection, Master Gearbox and Diff, Crossways Motors, Strictly VW, Elco Truck and Haulers. Thank you all very, very much for helping us bring you all of the racing action live at absolutely no cost to the public. We're going to close off the show with the final word from the young man who is certainly reaching for the stars in the motorcycle world, Rushay Mudley. Thanks for watching, folks, and thanks to those that have hit the share button from us. From me, Brendan Kelly, it's goodbye until next time.
In qualifying, I qualified in pole position, and I got a very bad start, and I was third into the first corner. And then after a few laps, I eventually caught up and passed him and just controlled the gap in the front. Going into Heat 2, I wanted to get a better start because my first start was very bad. And I wanted to improve in the hanger section because I was losing out a lot of time there. Overall, I finished first in the 300 class, and it was a very fun day. I qualified on pole position, and during the race, I built quite a gap. And then with 2 laps to go, they said 1 lap to go, and then they showed me the checkered flag, but they did it by accident, and it was actually 2 laps to go. So I rolled off, and they passed me, but I came second.
Yeah, as a dad, I'm quite proud of Rushay's performance today. He rode really well. His first race on the big circuit in South Africa. He's been racing overseas in Spain, so it was quite nice to see him racing on our home circuit, and managed to win both heats and broke the lap record.